Alright, so let's talk about getting an asset, your own asset, into the game. So first of all, we're going to go back to the build. We're going to go up one file. We have a folder called assets. In the asset folder, as long as you pulled from dev before starting and starting your work, you can also you'll have all these folders. So inside, you'll save the asset into your specific asset folder, and what you're going to save it as is an object. So you're going to have to look for obj files. So for example, here is a UFO. I've got this offline, but it has all these textures, but there's the obj is the critical one that you need. If there's no obj, then you just have textures, and you may not be able to use you may not be in the right format that you need. So find some assets that you think are cool that would be space themed, save them in your asset folder, and then once you have them saved, you can do the next step. So for example, I have this one called set of UFOs. Now set of UFOs is actually 4 UFOs, so I have to do a little working with this to make this work in this example, but you may also find some other assets. Actually, let's use something that's a single. So I'll use my clouds here. So here's a cloud. We have multiple clouds, obj files. Okay, and I have an air balloon. So I'm going to use the air balloon, actually. That could be kind of cool in our game. So we're going to go to, what you got to do is you're going to open up Blender, and you want to open up a blank Blender file. So let's go back to our project template. I'm just going to open up the level. I'm going to open up my level. So we're going to be working in our levels, not in the overall team level, because that's going to be reserved for dev, basically dev changes in dev. Okay, so now I'm in my level. I'm going to go ahead and open up a new file, and it's going to be completely blank. Okay, so general blank. This is where you're going to import your objects first. You got to make changes to them. So I'm going to go ahead and delete the cube. I'm going to go ahead and open up, cancel. No, I want to import. So I'm going to import. I'm going to import an OBJ. I'm going to make sure I want to unsplit it, actually. Actually, I'm not sure about this object yet. So it might be multiple parts or not. So I'm going to start by having it split. And then I'm going to go to our assets. So in other words, if there's multiple parts, then I can actually color them different colors. So I'm going to try that. It doesn't really matter when you first bring it in anyway, because it's not our actual level. So I'll go and find our clouds. Going to have it there, and I'm going to get the air balloon obj. So there's our air balloon. If you do shift tilde, you can look around a little bit better. It's called a cylinder, and it's really only one thing, one material. So this is not going to be something that's going to split into multiple parts. It's one giant object. It doesn't have multiple parts, so it won't really matter whether you do split it or not. But anyway, so let's look at this thing. Is it big enough, small enough? It looks like about the right size. If you want to change the scale, though, say I wanted to make it a huge boss, I could go 2, 2, 2, and it's humongous. Then you would have to go what's called, you have to do object, apply scale. It will turn all these to 1s, and that will now be your default scale. But I think that's a little too big, so I'm going to go ahead and just do 1, 1, 1. You cannot do, if you do something like 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 2, you have to do that scale thing. You have to go object, apply scale, and then it will change everything to 1, 1, 1, and again, this will be the default scale. You want it to be 1, 1, 1 going into your into the game level. Okay, so there it is. Now we're going to go ahead and look at the materials. Right now it's white. This is pretty much the only thing you need to change. If you want to make it a different color, I'll make it pink, because balloons pink, I don't know. It doesn't always show up in the actual level, unfortunately, so you're not maybe going to be able to see it in this level, but when you import it into the game, you will see it. So right now, that's pretty much all I'm going to do. I'm going to change the names, because this is what it's going to be named when you bring it into the level. So I definitely want to do ID. So I'll go back to there. Right-click cylinder, go ahead to ID data, and rename it to, we'll rename it to balloon, if I could spell. And then we're going to go ahead and rename the actual mesh. I believe that's what this is. Right-click, rename the mesh, balloon as well. Okay, again, can't spell. Okay, and now you have this. I don't save because this is not a thing you're saving. It's just like a sandbox that you're playing in for the moment. It's colored pink, and I'm going to just export it. So I'm going to do File, Export, OBJ again, and I got to figure out where to save it. Save it into your assets. So I have these clouds, so I'm going to go ahead and create I'm going to create a new one called Balloon. And you could just put it in your assets. You don't have to make all these different extra folders, but you could just put in David, you put in your asset folder. But put in Balloon. I'm going to rename it balloon.object. Okay, that'll be J. I'm going to export it. Nothing in here really matters that much at this point, as I can tell. And you go ahead and do that. Now you can go to the level. So you don't really need this anymore. You've taken care of everything you need to take care of. Go to your actual level, which I have level, let's see if I have it over here. We're going to go into my level here, and I'm going to open it. Okay, now I'm going to import it into the level, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to File, Import, and I'm going to do OBJ. This is where split, you really don't want to split it because you just want to make it as one big group object. It's not multiple parts anyway, so that doesn't really matter. Go ahead and import. Well, I have to find the object, right? So we're gonna go to balloon object. Now it created a material file, but you don't really need that one. That's default, and there's my balloon in the level. So as you can see, Shift tilde, go around. I have a pink balloon now that I can use at my level. The first thing you want to do when you get it in the level, though, is go to it. It's under balloon. Okay. Make sure the names are correct that you want them to be, and also you're going to add your property to that to make sure it's collidable, or to make sure it's it has enemy properties. So you go down, you do this orange square here, go down to the bottom, create a custom property. You're going to make it a string, and you're going to call this game type, and then you're going to go OK, and then it's going to default value in this case will be an enemy. It could be player, it could be a bullet. You're going to save that, and now you have a new object in your scene. It's not in your game, it's just in the Blender scene right now, and then eventually you can get it into the game by creating it and spawning it.